Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum and just take a look back at this chart and discuss whether a 10K Ethereum this market cycle is theoretically possible. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So yesterday I put out a video talking about projecting out future theoretical peaks based on Ethereum's fair value logarithmic regression trend line, which is this. This green line you see here is the fair value logarithmic regression trend line. And what I did was we just looked at the percent difference between the price and the logarithmic regression trend line, looked at Bitcoins, looked at how one market cycle or two cycles ago Bitcoin peaked at around 3,000%, and then the next one peaked at around 1,000%. And then for Ethereum, we looked at the fact that, okay, well, it was around 3,000% last one. If it's around 1,000% this one, then we can project out what would 1,000% overvaluation be for Ethereum from the fair value trend line. And right now, the fair value is around $304. It's 303.84 cents. So if we were to say, if we were to say, well, what is the fair value from the current or the overvaluation of 1,000% from the fair value today, it would put it around 33.42. 33.42. And then I got a lot of questions. We're like, well, hold up a second. What about a 10K Ethereum? And we have plenty of videos talking about theoretical 10K Ethereum. This is simply if we went to the peak today. Remember, this is a monotonically increasing function. We even showed an example that if we reach, say, let me move this, if we reach 1,000% overvaluation by the time Ethereum's fair value is 500, then it would correspond to a $5,500 Ethereum. In the same manner, if we were to reach 1,000% overvaluation by 2023, as opposed to today, then we could be looking at a over 10K, because 1,000% over $1,000 is actually more than $10,000, because 1,000% is 11x, right? 200%, 100% is 2x, a 200% is 3x, so 1,000% is 11x. So given that 1,000% is 11x, even if our fair value were, say, between $900 and $1,000, by middle of 2023, if we saw an overvaluation of 1,000% from the fair value trend line, it could theoretically put us at a $10,000 Ethereum. Another thing to consider, which we said a lot yesterday, is we said, well, what's a few 100% among friends? If you look at Ethereum's 3,000% move, it was slightly more than 3,000% last cycle. And if you look at Bitcoin's 3,000% move, it was slightly less than 3,000%. And then Bitcoin's next one was around 1,000%. It's possible that Ethereum's next level of overvaluation from its fair value trend line could be 1,200% or 1,500%. We simply do not know. Remember, all models are wrong. Some are useful. I'm just putting out projections based on what could occur in the short term, or what if it occurs, say, in the medium term, or maybe what if it occurs in a longer time frame. Remember, if the longer we take to build up, theoretically, the higher we can go, the higher we can fly. So we'll want to keep an eye on how quickly we're going up. If Ethereum comes back down at some point during the cycle, and we have an extended cycle, like I think there's a good probability we have an extended cycle. It doesn't mean it necessarily has to happen like that, but I think with all the institutional investors coming on board, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there's a good chance that this cycle will extend past the end of 2021. And I've been saying that for a long time, that there's a good chance it could extend past 2021. We might have a short bear market between now and the ultimate peak, just like we did here when we came back down to the fair value from this major bull market. We came back down to the fair value. Don't underestimate the idea that we could come back down to that level. We're not saying that we will, but we must always be ready for it. If we get in this mindset that a lot of other YouTubers, will tell you, like, straight up to 30K or something like that, if you operate deterministically, you do stand to lose a lot of money potentially. Okay, you just simply do. I've seen a lot of people in crypto say they're going to sell at a certain price because some random YouTuber told them that it was going to go to that price, and it never quite made it. Think about all the people who were waiting for a $1,500 Ethereum back in 2018, and it never came. Do you think these guys were happy when they saw it go to 1420 and then drop back down to less than 100? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. They would want to see it They would want to take profits and live to fight another day, right? If you sold Ethereum at 1400 and you just simply waited, you decide, okay, I'm going to better my life. Enough with this crypto stuff for a while. I'm going to jump off the train and then get back on it later. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if you didn't time the top, imagine you sold it. Maybe you sold some at 500, at 600, at 700, at 800, at 900, and then you were out at 1,000 and said, you know what? I'll leave the rest for the pigs. Some of these pigs will get super fat and they'll be carried off to the slaughter because they're going to get too greedy. And when you get too greedy, your position reserves the right to capitulate 90% if you get too greedy. Again, we've always said it before. Leave the rest for the pigs. Now, we still theoretically have a long way to go this cycle, but I don't want people to think that we have to go monotonically up forever. We've seen moves like this before where we have a nice extended move and then we ultimately go sideways for a while and then capitulate back into the trend line before continuing another move. We've seen it earlier in 2018. We came out of the fair value, then briefly back in. We came all the way up here to several $100s, and then we ultimately capitulated back down to $100 or less than $100 on an hourly time frame. And then we came back up, and you see how quickly the times can change. If you're new to the space and you find yourself FOMOing into crypto every time it becomes, it's a headline on different news sites, you're simply doing it wrong. You're simply doing it wrong. I would encourage you to, stick around stick around for the bear market at some point, right? Come back when it's not. And I'm not saying, you shouldn't be buying or whatever. I mean, you have to do whatever makes sense for you. But sometimes if you're establishing a position now, if you were to see it go up in the short term, you're going to be very happy with yourself. Maybe you take profits, maybe you don't, maybe you just want to let it ride for a few years. If, on the other hand, it goes down in the short term and you say, you know what, enough with this crypto nonsense, I'm out of here, and then you see it go back down, this is where the smart money comes back in, okay? The smart money comes in here, 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 and here. It even gave us one last opportunity. And we even made another video on this, calling it the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. Our accumulation phase of a lifetime was right here. Video right here at 235. We made another one at around $400. Ethereum, as kind as it is, gave us one last chance to really load up. One last chance to really load up before going parabolic. And we said reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. Here we are. We are no longer assuredly in the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime. We are in speculative bubble mode. We are in speculative bubble mode. We simply do not know how high it will go. We could go to $2,500 before coming back down to earth for a while, or we could hold resistance at $1,400 before coming back down to earth for a while. We simply do not know. Again, it's the risks you take. If you're the guy coming in up here, you're doing something wrong, generally speaking, because you're chasing short-term speculative moves. The people that were in down here can easily stomach 20 to 30% drops. Brush it off the shoulder. Don't get out of bed for it. If you're putting in a lot of money up here and it drops 20%, you're gonna feel pretty bad about that most likely. So again, if you're coming in at the top, recognize the downside risk. If you're okay with that, more power to you. Let's ride it up together as high as it'll go. I still own almost all of my Ethereum, almost all of it, and I'm ready to see how high it can take us in the short term. But I'm also in a position where even if it were to come back down well below $1,000, no big deal to me. In fact, if it came back down to here, guess what? The accumulation phase of a lifetime. Okay, how many accumulation phases of a lifetime can we have? I don't know. We'll see how many times Ethereum gives us that opportunity. So, to get back to the point, can Ethereum reach $10,000 this market cycle? Theoretically, it can. Will it? It's really hard to say. If it does, I'll probably be mostly out of the market. The only reason I wouldn't be out of the market is if it's moving up monotonically at the end and my stops just simply are not getting hit. I'll keep moving the stop up to make sure I'm taking profit each and every step, and I'll keep stacking on that stop as it continues moving up. If it does reach 10K, I will certainly sell some to make sure that I can say I sold Ethereum at 10K. And if it doesn't, if it stops at 8K or 9K or 7K or 6K, still taking a ton of profits on that. You don't want to be that guy that watches it go up because some Twitter person told you it's going to go to this, it's going to go to some specific price because of some crystal ball they claim to have, and then watch it come back down. So be pragmatic about things. I don't think of things in terms of, oh, how much Ethereum do I own, how much Bitcoin. I just look at things in terms of percent moves. There's times to get on the train, and then there's times to get off. Okay, this was the time to get on the train, and I don't know exactly where the time to get off is going to be, but rest assured I do have some stops in place in the event of a capitulation, but I still reserve the upside potential in the event we keep on rising, and so far the momentum is there. So far the momentum is taking us up, and we want to see exactly how far it'll go, but we want to do it in a responsible manner that's not betting the family farm. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below, and check out the premium list if you want to figure out how I'm navigating these markets at intothecryptoverse.com. That'll wrap it up for the video. Click on the bell icon to notify yourself of future videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye.